So, hi everybody, it's James from Posture Stars, and today I'm really excited to be talking to Ali from Your Perfect Posture, who's a physiotherapist in Canberra, Australia, who's doing loads of work with mums and kids at the moment and people working from home. Good morning, good evening, Ali.
Hi James, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. I'm really well. For our listeners, our time zones are totally different. And an hour ago, Ali was poised and ready for our podcast, and I was still lounging around with a cup of tea in my pajamas.
Yes, and we've got daylight savings here, so we're coming into summer. So we've got longer nights, and it's beautiful. The kids are out a bit more, so we've been bike riding and on the trampoline, which is always good to get away from those screens.
Oh, I'm so jealous of your lovely weather. So I wanted to talk to you because you've been making great strides in helping, in particular, what's going on in lockdown in Canberra at the moment. But this is pertinent moving forwards for everybody who's working from home, and in particular, people working from home who've got kids who are doing homework, and they're not in the best situation either.
Not at all, James. So I noticed this massive information gap. So we're all sent home to work and learn, and there was no information provided. So I actually started my little business because all my friends were coming to me saying, "Ali, I'm getting a sore neck," or "What do I do? I've got, I'm using my laptop." And so out of that, I just kept researching and going, right, what are we going to do with all these, women and children who are working and learning from home with pain? So, we're 18 months down the track now. Hopefully we're getting the word out a bit more. James, you do a great job on Instagram with your posts and trying to, do quick little short tips that you can do. They can be inexpensive, things like, chalking your laptop up on some cookbooks, which, is great. But I think the dynamics are changing now, and a lot of people are working from home, longer, and, it's flexible working environments. So people are choosing to work from home or the office. We get rid of that commute. But in saying that, our children are on devices more, I'm finding. I've got a 4-year-old that's, doing Google Meets and learning on a tablet, which, he wouldn't be if he was at school. So I am finding that if I can't see their eyes and their neck is flexed forward, then, we need to do something about that. So it's really important to get those screens raised up. And similar with the phone, we're all on phones now for our work. So I'm finding that the phone on the desk just isn't cutting it anymore, and just getting all our screens up to eye level to try and prevent that tech neck is, the number one tip that I could tell anyone. Yeah, you got your phone there. Yeah, such a distraction, isn't it? The phone, laptop.
Yeah, and it's really distracting for the kids. That was a great little point you said there, that if you can't see your eyes, that the head's in a bad position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find, as parents, I'm definitely guilty. So I've got my son coming up asking me something, and I feel like I'm just getting sucked in my screen all the time. They see us scrolling on there as well. But I laugh because, watching the TV is much more ergonomic than sitting on the switch or on the tablet or, on the laptop. So, sitting with the TV at eye level is absolutely perfect. So, we really have to think about those devices because, we've got Nintendo Switches, laptops, iPads, the TV, and, I don't think there is a lot of research out there about tablets, actually. James, what have you found with children learning on tablets?
I've got very little experience with it, to be fair. Our kids are always either on paper or on the laptop, and we do our best to get the laptop well positioned. But I noticed with the tablets, you'd had a great idea a month ago, which was to use a picture frame just to lean your tablet on.
Yeah, absolutely. So just getting an upright to look at their eyes so they're not just, hunched over. I took a photo of my son in his bed the other day. He was curled over looking at the iPad on his feet like a ball, and I was just like, they don't realise they're doing it. But, it's exactly the same principles, getting the screen up to eye level so that, you've got your head stacked on your shoulders over hips, and just alternating their postures. So, kids just don't sit still. You're not going to have them sit up at the dining table for hours on end. So have them standing a little bit, using their anti-gravity muscles to stretch them out. Kids love standing and moving around. And then definitely when I feel like the screens have been on too much, we go and jump on a trampoline, and they have energy to burn, basically, don't they? So it's a constant, all right, we're eating, we're jumping, or we're learning. It's a great circle that we go around, especially because we're remote learning, so we're all at home. I've got my husband in the office and the 2 kids learning, and I'm trying to work on the side. So definitely is a struggle, but we'll get there.
When I'm in private practice, sometimes I work with people who've just worked on a laptop, and they come in presenting with lots of neck pain and shoulder pain and back pain, and we talk about what they do during the day, and they say, I work on a laptop, and I say, well, have you got it in the right position? And they say, well, what does that matter? What would you say to parents whose kids are in those bad positions but think it's not a big deal?
Yeah, absolutely. So I found, because I sell the ergonomic equipment now, so I've found that the mums have come and bought their laptop stands and external keyboard and mice, and then the light bulb's gone off and they thought, hang on, I've got a teenager just on a laptop, on their makeshift desk in their bedroom or on the dining table. And as you know, James, dining tables are a concoction for upper limb and neck pain because they're always way too high for laptop use. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, getting the teenagers, get that laptop up, external keyboard and mouse, and make it fun for them. So automatically, if you put a mouse into someone's hand, you're automatically opening up that chest and shoulder and improving wrist posture. So if there's one tip that you could do for your teenagers, buy them a mouse to use with their laptop.
But historically, mice and keyboards have all been kind of grey or black and not tailored to the individual. And I notice you're starting to sell a range which is a lot more exciting.
Yes, well, firstly, I like them, and then I realised that there was a little bit of a following. So I buy keyboards that match my lipstick or my jumper half the time. So I've got a keyboard that's called the lipstick keyboard. It's beautiful array of colours, and pink vertical mice. And teal and white, and I've got some really cute little fun keyboards and mice for kids in the pastel colours. So surprisingly, mint green is the most popular colour. I'm nearly out. So that's for boys and girls.
Wow. And
that's another tip, James. When you're using a tablet, instead of reaching up and touching the screen, you could put a little compact keyboard and mouse in front of the child. So I've got a 7-year-old, so I'd probably go from 5 up, say, and then you've just set them up just like we do with the keyboard in front of them and a mouse that opens up their chest rather than them reaching up or leaning over on the desk to activate that tablet. And they're already learning the keys on the keyboard, which is great. But, the scary thing is that, kids are on a screen for, say, 15 to 20 years before they get to the workforce. So that absolutely scares me because, when we were growing up, I think I had a laptop when I was in year 9. So what's that, about 15? And we weren't given a phone as a distraction or a tablet to, play Plants versus Zombies, which my 7-year-old is obsessed with at the moment.
And rightly so. It's a great game.
It's a great game. It's done the rounds. I think it's getting the HD is very good. But yeah, definitely they're starting earlier with the tech. And also, I guess you were talking about eye health as well. So looking at screens which are just so close, and then we're going to have a generation of people with probably degenerative eyes already because they're not taking that break, or the screens are just so close. Yeah.
It's something we really need to pay attention to. So, okay, let's drill down into. In fact, before we do that, let's talk about mice. I like a big mouse. I like a man's mouse.
Yep.
And that mouse isn't going to suit a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, is it, Ali?
No, absolutely no. You need to measure your hand correctly for a mouse. So definitely you need a smaller mouse for a child. The ones that I sell are probably good for teenagers. So they're a small to a medium. And there is a way to measure your hand. So you want to measure from your wrist to the top of your middle finger, but you also want to measure the breadth here. So this is the sort of the length that you're, holding that mouse. So here's a vertical mouse here. This is my husband's. He didn't go for the pink. And so that needs to be measured as well. So what mouse do you use, James? You've got the roller bar, or?
I do have that. I tend to use the Contour Uni mouse, which is an upright clamshell type mouse that you can have either upright or pretty much horizontal. And I love that because it's given me different positions during the day that I can choose. So if I were to play Plants vs Zombies and I wanted some real accuracy, I'd have it down. And if I was just scrolling the internet, I'd have it up. And then I'm varying that position throughout the day to keep the wrist nice and open and wrist nice and free as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't think about, how you use your mouse. Like, I really love the DPI button because it makes it quicker or slower. And, for that precision, if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, you need it to be really precise. So, that's interesting that you alternate. And that's great because, when we're talking about posture and being in a good posture, it's really, it's about your next posture, isn't it? So always moving, because our bodies really, they weren't designed to sit in a chair, basically. We're movement machines. We're supposed to be moving, hunters and gatherers. But unfortunately, because of technology, we're just sitting. We're sitters. But I notice you're standing. Is that you standing there? I can see.
I always stand for my video sessions for a number of reasons. Firstly, it gets me out of sitting. Secondly, it's easier to present. It gives me more range of movement. It makes me feel more confident. So a lot of salespeople will be told to stand if they're trying to sell and stuff like that. And also it allows me actually to demonstrate sitting positions to people when I'm teaching them how to use their home office and how to set their kids up as well. So there's so many advantages to that for me. It's just an easy win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when I'm doing corporate work, a lot of people were provided the sit-stand desk, but, when you're home, you might not want to fork out that money. So there are so many different ways that you can stand during the day. So I stand every time I have a tea or a coffee break. I stand whenever I have lunch, like, when you're getting the kids lunch, because they're still at home. We're homeschooling at the moment, so we're all eating. I can tell. Can you hear one of them?
This is the reality of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're always hungry. Like my grocery bill is through the roof when they're at home. But so, finding ways that you can stand. So standing on calls, standing when you're scrolling your phone, make it a habit or put an alarm on your calendar or your phone to stand more. Or what have you got there?
Or I've got a little clock that I use, which you can set to various times, and it tells you your time is up, stop working and stand up. I love that. Everyone should use one of them. Really helpful for posture. So, Ali, question number 1 is... You know what's coming now. What is posture?
What is posture? Absolutely. So I knew you were going to ask this, James, because I've listened to a few of your podcasts and you always ask your guests that. So, absolutely. I'll tell you what posture isn't. It isn't just sitting upright and being in one position for 8 hours of the day. So posture is just so dynamic and is always changing. And I know my business name is Your Perfect Posture, but I want to confirm that there is no perfect posture, is there? It really is ongoing. And even when you're sleeping, you're in a posture. So having a nice ergonomic pillow, which, I've invested my whole family into some ergonomic pillows. Just to make sure that their spine is aligned when they're sleeping, because if they're on devices all day, you want to try and balance that out and get a good sleep. Sleep is so important. But definitely posture is just always changing it. And I really think just being aware of your posture. So being aware if your neck or you can't see your children's eyes or they can't see your eyes, or being aware if your lumbar support is in the right spot, because, we know our spine is an S shape and we want to try and keep that S shape all the time. So that's sort of our neutral posture. So any deviation away from that S, isn't great. But look, it's okay because you want to keep your body moving. We're movement machines, but also, don't want to put unnecessary strain on bits that don't need to.
No, and as for moving, if anyone checks out your Instagram channel, My Perfect Posture, you're always moving in those. You're bouncing around the room. There's so much energy going on.
I know.
I can't imagine you being static for more than 5 minutes.
No, and it's funny because I'm sitting right now, but I've been standing in meetings. I've been on the trampoline. As a parent, you're always moving. So when I talk to people is when I sit. That's the only time I get to sit, and I feel like that's a really important point. So try and do the opposite of what you've been doing. So if you've been sitting, try and stand up and stretch, or if you've been leaning over, try and do some extension exercise. It's really about balance and counteracting that movement. So I always tell people, if you're flexed over, look, go and lie on a towel or on the ground or over, one of those roller, what are they called? The rollers, foam rollers.
Foam roller.
Yeah, or a thick ball, try and extend, try and just do the opposite of what you've been doing for the last however long.
So that kind of feeds into our second question, which is, as a physiotherapist, what do you do to help people's posture?
Yeah, right. Well, look, not sitting all day is my number one tip. So please don't sit all day on a bad chair. Of course, all about having a great chair. Try and invest into either a good chair. Invest in a good chair, basically, or, making sure you've got your lumbar support. If your desk doesn't go up and down yet, try some standing and alternating your posture. But also, you need to keep your body fit and nimble as well. So that's where standing or moving, eat your lunch away from your desk. A lot of people tell me they eat through lunch, or they sit at their desk and eat lunch, and they never get a break from that screen. So you need to keep your body fit and nimble as well, because, sitting burns the same amount of energy and calories as if you're asleep. So it's not a lot. And we're all at risk of this early diabetes, cardiovascular problems, musculoskeletal problems from sitting in this flexed forward posture. So, doing a few postural stretches, like I said, some extensions over a foam roller. I know the Ergonomic method have a lot of great postural realignment exercises, and I've read one of their books, and so I try and incorporate that into when I take the kids to the park. We ride our bikes, so we're getting a bit of energy, and then when they're running around the park, I'll do some postural, shoulder or back exercises and some back extensions, and I try and incorporate that, sprinkle it all through my day so that, but I'm always aware of it, James, as you are too. I'm constantly aware of where my body is in space and how I'm sitting and how I'm moving. I know that's not the forefront of everyone's, thinking, and like you said, when you're getting stuck in work and, work consumes you, you don't realise that you're flexed over and stressed, and, we hold our stress up here in our shoulders, don't we? So simple things like some shoulder rolls, and remembering to do your chin tucks, because you might just do a chin tuck and go, I didn't realise my chin was so poked out. So chin tucks, a shoulder roll, aligning your shoulder blades with the back of the chair, and, maybe a little bit of, looking away from the screen and some, the 20-20-20 rule, 20 metres away, 20 blinks, or look at something green. There's so many things that you can do to, change your posture and improve your health. It's really about your longevity, isn't it? And your health and well-being and feeling, not stressed. So, when you've got a little bit of pain, you tend to, sort of, what's the word? You go into your pain. So a lot of people I see, if they do have like a shoulder injury, they'll tend to carry that differently. And that can cause, compensatory problems down the track. So perhaps they've got a sore elbow, but then now it's neck pain and now it's back pain because they're sitting awkwardly on their chair. Or one thing is a knock-on effect, isn't it? And that's what I see a lot of. So, and also that's the Ergonomic method, where you might have a problem with your elbow, but it's actually coming from your low back, or, an imbalance in muscles or a weakness or pain. So it's really looking at the whole person, isn't it? Rather than it's just a, tennis elbow or a muscle in your neck. It's the whole way that you hold yourself.
Very holistic of you, Ali. Very, very holistic.
Well, we have to be, James, because I, as a physio, I see an injury, but I also see the whole person, so it affects, so my people that I'm helping are mainly mums or mumpreneurs with kids. So I know that mums, we're sort of like the glue that holds the family together. So if mum's out of action and she's got pain or she needs to go to the physio, maybe the rest of the family don't know, what time soccer training is, or, we really do keep the whole, the family cohesion going. So women don't have time to be ill or in pain or injured. I know that's for sure. So, if I can help prevent a woman from getting pain, then that's a job well done for me.
Brilliant. So question 3 then, if you were to offer one quick thing for a mum to do as an example right now, what would that be, assuming they're not in a car?
So for them, for a mum working from home on a laptop, or
what could she do?
So getting that laptop up high, as we know, external keyboard and mouse. That's my first tip. But also, please do look at how your children are interacting with devices, because they have so many more years. Their spines are growing, and I, as a physio, I don't want to see teenagers coming in with tech neck and their spines are already fused forward. So that will keep me in business for a long time, but I don't want to be treating, preventable tech neck type injuries. I, would much prefer to, treat other things other than device related. So if we can get that word out, James, with our Instagram page and just helping educate and empowering people to make better health choices. So, if you're getting a laptop, remember that big sticker that I always think of you. You say there should be a big sticker saying, warning, do not use this laptop on its own. So, up high, external keyboard and mouse. And then, look at how your children are interacting with their devices as well.
Brilliant. So, so your current role is to make yourself redundant so that nobody needs you.
Yes, well,
Before...
it'll take a while though. So my absolute goal, James, is to get ergonomics into the curriculum in every school in Australia. So I grew up with zero ergonomics. In fact, I still don't think there's any ergonomics. I've got children in primary schools at the moment, and so I'll start with the primary schools, and then hopefully by the time they get to high school, I can move on to them. But even just showing them a spine and showing them that this is an S shape, actually. This is how, you need to sit or move. And, this is how you use a tablet without causing excessive strain. This is how you use a laptop. So, I would love for every high school student with their laptop to carry a mouse in their bag. Like, that would be another great goal. We'll talk, it's a bit hard to raise laptops when they're in the school environment. That's going to be a challenge because every school has different furniture, and you can't just have people popping up their laptop up too high, all around the classroom. So we need to think of other ways, but, definitely getting a mouse into their hand, is a great way to reduce that pain. But that's a long-term goal, James. I hope you can help me with that one as well.
I'll do my best to make you redundant.
Well, not too soon, I've got at least 20 more years left.
In the meantime, should anyone want to get hold of you, where do they find you, Ali?
Oh, yeah. So I do my best work on Instagram because I'm obsessed with reels. So please do follow at Your Perfect Posture, all one word or all three words. I'm on Facebook as well, at Your Perfect Posture. I've got my website. I'm afraid I don't ship overseas, but any Australians listening, I sell cute little compact keyboards and ergonomic mice and pillows and laptop stands and phone holders. So I'm www.yourperfectposture.com.au. I know it's a mouthful, but that's where I'll be, James, and I'm always here to help. I'd much prefer, you let me know what your problem is, and then you can buy the right equipment or, make some quick changes without having to spend a cent. But definitely invest in yourself and invest in your health, because it's much easier to prevent an injury than rehabilitate someone once they've had an injury. A lot of people don't get back to 100% after an injury. They might get back to 90% or 95%. It's a long process, and some people can get into that chronic pain cycle, which also isn't great. It doesn't just affect your work; it affects your whole life, your family dynamics, your financials, your mental health. It's a knock-on effect. So if we can prevent an injury with, some really great little tips, then that's great.
I'm sending you a virtual high five.
Oh, yeah.
Ali, you are a posture star. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, James. It was a pleasure.